a couple things coaching assignment-wise for this. Who has different responsibilities for the ball?
Assignment-wise, Jason Beck will be the acting offensive coordinator for this game. Matt Edwards, our senior analyst, will be moving up to work with the tight ends and inside receivers. Drew Meyer will be moving up to work with the special teams. Coach Hunter will be the lead coach on any cover teams for special teams, and Coach Papinga will be the lead coach for our return teams. I think that covers it.
In preparation for SMU, it looks like they have a patchwork staff put together as well. Do you just scout them for what they did this season, or do you have to look at what some of these other coaches might lean toward?
It's both, and bowl season is different than it's ever been, and I'm not sure where it will keep going to, or where that will end up. But I'm concerned, right, that teams don't have the same head coach through their entire season, right? They don't have possibly some of their most impactful players after great seasons, right? That they don't finish together. And so I have a lot of mixed feelings about all of that. And now when it comes to the preparation part, you just do the best you can, right? You use all the film of what they've done, try to see who else is joining and in what role, anticipate. But really, every day to express gratitude for your existing team and coaches and try as hard as you can for them. That is the way I make sense of it. And focusing on yourself and your own execution is really about as good as you can do. And then you match up and adjust with whatever comes after that. And I think that's probably the best scenario for most. I don't know how many staffs are in a state of flux in college football of all the bowl games, but I bet that number would be more rather than less, and it's becoming more typical than atypical. And yeah.
Should we assume that you had no doubts about coaching in this game?
I didn't. No, that wasn't acceptable to me. It's my team, and I want them to have their best chance to have another great experience together, but also to express my appreciation and selfishly be with them. My days aren't as good when I'm not, and same with my staff, and so that was never even an option, nor will it ever be.
Is it nice to just kind of get back after it and put all the other stuff?
Yeah. So the 2 weeks, roughly from kind of from my announcement or the surprise of my announcement, there's been a lot of hurting and healing and everything in between, and a sense of stability and an anchor for lots and lots of people changed, and almost everyone at that time, and myself included for my announcement, right? Each person has a life, and that affects others. And so lots of just counseling and direction for staff and players and families as to what's best for them within the context of kind of advisor, not head coach. And that 2 weeks, it was almost, entirely self-focused for everyone in the program, and so refreshing for all to be back in the team setting and talk about us and we and serving and helping and joining and unifying and commonality. And I've just seen the demeanor go from kind of furrowed brows and anxiety to security and optimism and hope and confidence. And that comes from doing and helping, but also from routine and consistency. And so there has been upheaval, but this feels normal and it feels good, I think, to everybody. So the routine has helped.
What's been the message to the guys in the transfer portal who are still working?
I hope every player that is considering elsewhere doesn't or won't make a decision until they see what happens at UVA. Not only from the head coaching perspective, which I'm really impressed, and I've had Tony and I've had, and we spent almost every morning together all last week, and I would really like UVA to succeed. I'd like the program to continue to grow. I would like his point of references to be accelerated from the exchanges we're having. I'd like him to have his best chance to continue on and have just a great career here. And so besides Coach Elliott, I would like every person in the portal to see who's going to coach him and why it's UVA. Where would they go and why that could be better? But certainly the people matter, and so I've just asked them to wait as long as possible to see who will be the next version of UVA, and then make sure that's considered. The best decisions are made on the most information, right? And many times outside sources try to have us rush and impose time frames, and they give us partial information that's special interested that might benefit them without seeing everything. And I want them to see everything. I want them to know all their options, and I prefer they all remain to continue on. However, right, they get to choose, just like coaches get to choose, and I think that's fair. But my hope is, right, that they would not choose until they know exactly what happens here. And I think it's a powerful option, and I think it's worth considering strongly as the point of reference rather than a comparison to something else.
Brennan came out very early on and said he was not entering the transfer portal. What does that say about his leadership?
Brennan is an outstanding human being. He's a fierce competitor. He's loyal and trustworthy, and all the qualities I would want in a friend, he has them. And yeah, I'm the head coach at UVA, but my players, they end up becoming my friends. He would be one that you'd want with you anywhere, any situation. And this is just the next time he's demonstrated that, and really proud of who he is. It's a lot in his position. And did he have other choices? Could he have done other? Yeah. And I'm impressed with him.
What's been your advice to your staff in terms of looking for new jobs? Are you out there recommending them? Or?
Yeah, I appreciate the chance to talk about it. It's been my number one focus for our players and my staff to help them know what are their options, see it as clearly and as transparently as possible, and then choose in alignment with their beliefs, guided by principles, and then align those things so they can continue to grow. And the staff, I've been with them so long, and if you think about it just for a second, it's really unique because I've coached most of them. Then they were my graduate assistants, and I elevated them to full-time, and then I asked them to come across the country. But they came across the country in an established family. Not families, but family. And wow, does that give a sense of support for wives and kids that is atypical for college football. Now, if you think transitionally, how better could I, and I'm not going to say this was intentional, but how better could they have been prepared than to make this epic of a journey together? But now, individually, each family gets to choose where they're going, and they are, and they're having great opportunities because they're amazing coaches and people. And I have a map already, and I'm putting pins. And whenever they're announced, you'll see where they're going. But I love the thought of here goes our way to influence college football with families and people that are completely prepared, and I think they are. They're not perfect, but they're ready. And it might sound condescending, but Holly and I, we remember when our kids, right, we were pushing the back of the bike and then letting go, and that's not a perfect analogy, and I hope it comes out better than that. But here they go, right? And I'm not worried. I mean, yeah, I'm happy. And Holly and I have hugged for more phone calls for where staff is going than probably, I don't know what, not kids getting married because I don't have any married yet, but like big things, right? We're hugging, and because these families have meant and mean so much to us, and we're just cheering wildly when we know where they're ending up. And I'll do the same for our players. Wherever they choose and end up in the NFL, remaining at UVA, or if they happen to choose elsewhere, because I know they'll be choosing, or they've been advised to choose, waiting and seeking and yearning for as much information that fits their beliefs as they can.
How about Coach and I? Can you go a little more detail into this?
Yeah,
situation?
just so timing, right? Every position, right, requires, and usually the head coaches and coordinators are tougher, but a lot of times the timing and urgency to get to a place and establish and go is, those are, sometimes that's just what has to happen. And so we all control what we can to the best level that we can, but this provided a great opportunity for Jason, right? And for him to show his level of preparation and readiness, and so it can't all be orchestrated, right? I don't get to choose how it all works, but what I am comfortable is someone steps up, and I'm happy for Robert. Wow, the offense, I'm not sure it's not the best ever here. Statistically, I guess you can go anywhere you want, but and the friendship and the loyalty and the work. He'll be missed by me, and I'm totally supportive and a fan of where he'll end up whenever that announcement is. I can't make that announcement, but those are the teams that I follow, NFL or college. And if I do watch football, which I don't very much, it's where I have staff members or players.
Coach, talk about the Thursday Heroes program, how it's grown over the years, especially today. Just talk with the Post family. They came out and actually said, well, it wasn't for what you've done and your team has done, you probably saved the little kid's life. Just talk about the value of this program, what you've added to not only here, but to families that you've given this honor to.
Well, I'll give you just maybe a quick backstory, and you can edit and cut. And when Holly and I became the head coach at BYU, and I do consider it when we became the head coach, we had little kids. And immediately there was all this attention on us. We were the same people, but we have this title now, and we're being treated differently, and so are my kids, which is good and bad based on how you play, because people say things, good and bad, to kids based on how you play. And we were just saying, this is Holly and I, how can we arm our family with perspective and teach values? And that's to serve. And so we just thought of what can really make a difference, and having young people that are struggling become king or queen for a day, where if they can get out of the hospital or they can get out of the home, and their parents can just have someone else help for an hour or two and just add some level of brightness. And you saw focus on gifts. That's just symbolic. When they sit in my chair and act like the head coach, when they are cheered for, when a player exchanges a text or an email after they leave and that continues. And so many of these kids have passed away. At one point when I left BYU, our Thursday's Hero reunions had over 1,500 people. And my kids would be there, and they remember the stories. And like when you try to say, I went in my office today and I asked my secretaries and the office staff to put things in boxes yesterday. And so I walked in and everything's gone. I mean, it's in boxes, right? And there's the space. And I tried to think, what evidence is there that good was done here? And those things are the good that's done. And it's just through this other narrative of football that allows it to be done. And in season, it's hard because after Thursday, we're getting close to the game and everyone's thinking about that. And many times I had forgotten we had a hero, and then so glad we did, because it anchored me back to substance and value of sport beyond entertainment. And it started out as being vital to my kids, but it's ended up being vital to me and older kids, and hopefully it's carried on. Now sport has real value when you talk about maybe the platform of giving, and what you saw today was just one of, and I think it's essential for all of us, and that perspective gives us all a chance to be grounded when needed on things of substance, while we do our jobs, right? And we all have jobs to do.
Bronco, given that focus on service and such, have you had any more clarity in the last couple of weeks about where your journey?
You've been talking to Holly, huh? Because she's asking me. That was supposed to be funnier than the response I just got right there. Yeah. No, I haven't. What I do know is, and I might have shared this, it seems like a long time ago now, what I believed and had come to my head at some point early in the 17-year span of being a head coach was, at some point, my ideal is they'll forget I was a coach because of something else that I'm doing that's impactful and powerful in serving and helping people. And I don't know what that is. And I'm not saying it could not be football. I just don't know. And I wasn't going to continue on without just looking for sure with Holly, because we started together being a head coach, and man, that happened so fast. And it just is so easy to let it just keep rolling over without truly just going deep enough again. And I wasn't willing to do that without she and I just, wait a second, is this what we're supposed to do? And so no, I don't. And my entire focus has been helping my staff and my players, and it will be. And then after the game, and I don't know when, I'm hopeful clarity will come. I put a 1-year, is it moratorium or deadline on myself? That helps Holly a little bit. So she knows this isn't just like open-ended, but it's a partnership. And I want what we are supposed to do. And I would like clarity for us on how to, do whatever we're supposed to do. And I've had so many questions of, okay, now what's the real story? And side texts after there is no other story. That is the story. There is no, that is it. We don't know what we're going to do, but we do know we're coaching this game and trying to help this program, this institution, and these players have another positive experience. I would prefer to win. But that's not everything. But is it important? It is.
What's been Holly's input in this process?
Oh, man. So the timing couldn't have been worse for her husband. She'll forgive me at some point, probably. That was also supposed to be funny. So she was in Montana, and we were communicating by phone during all of that. And the first call was what? About what? And each call, even within a day, there was tears and hysterics, and then joy, and then peace, and then tears. And so right from the first word, I knew, and man, has it been wild in terms of just trying to process, because that's all we've known. And but we are faithful people, and faith and hope go together, and those are tied to what we believe, and it's always worked, and this will as well. And that's where we are now. That didn't happen just like this, right? There's been ups and the Busch Garden rides emotionally. It's been a lot of that too.
We've been having these morning conversations with Coach Elliott. What are your impressions of it?
I'm so impressed. We'll be friends, but bright, articulate, thoughtful, substantive, successful, compelling history, family man. It just is. It feels good that there's another addition to head coaches of college football that that I'm impressed with. And it's been fast, but an hour to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours each morning last week. Coach Elliott was allowed to come to Monday's team meeting, position meetings, practice, same for today, which most of this is uncommon, but I don't know why it has to be. I don't know why it can't be a collaboration to help a program continue on to benefit the people that are here and the institution, and that's my intent, and it's been really valuable, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. I hadn't met him, no.
We've got time for a couple more questions.
This is like a world record.
Hey, Gene, do you want to jump in with anything?
Sure. Hey, Bronco, how much more effective would you say you've been over these last few weeks, given that your final game is approaching? And has it been hard at times just to focus on coaching the X's and O's, knowing that your time in Virginia is coming to an end?
How much more effective? Was that the first part?
No. How much more reflective?
Oh, reflective.
Reflective.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh man. From it's been kind of sequential from the announcement. Crisis management didn't allow reflection. And I wouldn't say reflection has even been part of it until possibly today with empty boxes, or with an empty office and boxes. I would say that symbolic. And I sat down and just like, oh, so what good has been done? As I was asking myself, like, what evidence is there? And I think it was powerful. I'll remember it forever because, I think when we pass away, it'll be similar, right? And like, what really did we do? What really did we do that added value, right? That might have, just helped. And so today, you caught me reflective. Probably not prior to today, but it took kind of a symbolic visual to head down that road. But I can't stay there because we're working, right? And we're working toward a goal. So maybe the next wave will be after the game, which is appropriate, and my team, they deserve that, and that's what I'm committed to do.
And as far as back to the game for a second, the plan for the quarterback is for Brennan to go all the way, or do you want to get other guys reps, or kind of what is the
Question was
what is
about
the deal there?
Brennan getting all the reps in the bowl game.
Brennan will get as many as he wants, and knowing Brennan, he'll want it to go overtime and then have a doubleheader and see if they want to stay after and play in the parking lot.
Did you ever have a chance to talk to Devin Darrington about his experience up there?
So he, only thing we mentioned is he wants to pitch batting practice for me, and he's just great. So no, we know. I've coached in the game before. It's that was in a baseball stadium, and you're on the same sideline, which is weird. But yeah, I intentionally wanted Boston. That was our first choice. Our team hasn't been there. There's so many cool things there to learn, and what a historic venue. So why not just continue to advance and learn and do new stuff? And as Jim, I don't know the number of times after games it was the first time ever or the first time since, we might as well just do that right to the end.
When did you start the transition from everything that you've been dealing with the past couple of weeks as far as staff and players to just focusing on the Fenway Bowl itself?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So there was recruiting happening in there too, which right on an early signing day, and man, what a challenge. And I just could not, nor would I, consider holding this in once I was clear and then letting people come, knowing I'm not going to knowing I wasn't going to stay, right? That's not right, and it's not moral, and it's not fair, and it's not truthful. Nor was I going to wait one more day of not having my staff have their best chance to look for jobs, right? And so, and in terms of playing a game, that makes it worse, not better, right? That's more turmoil, not less. And nor was it fair to our current team. And here's this transfer portal, right? And all of these other opportunities, and then to say, wait, no, you don't get to choose because I'm going to hold information that affects you. I'm just not doing that. And that's not right. And so by that timing, it made focus on the game later. But there's plenty of time, and we're well prepared, and we will be well prepared. And the program model to be prepared is right on point, and our team is handling it really well. So I can't give you an exact day, but there is no compromise that's been made. The only challenge is emotionally, everyone gets to choose where and how far they're going to go to play this game. How to not only play it, but play it, right? And that's, grown-ups do that stuff, right? Moms do it all the time. You got a lot going on, and you do it at the same time. This is a test of maturity for us all, and we're trying to handle it the best we can of a situation I created, right? So I'm responsible, and I've said that to our team, and so I'm doing the best I can to help.
One last quick one. Any players opted out?
No, there have been no opt-outs to this point. There are injuries.
Yeah, there's a couple of new things here.
I didn't bring my glasses. So no, I got it now. If I turn sideways, and these are surgeries. Bobby Haskins has been playing for a long time, and his evaluation this time was, no, you can't play any longer this season with it. Same with Billy Kemp. And by the way, these weren't like optional, could play or could not play. These are go in and they're saying this has to be done. Demeek Starling on our first practice back breaks his arm. Going to catch a pass, puts his arm down on to brace himself, and yeah, first practice. Luke Wentz, surgery. Others that were already out. Let's see. West Weeks, as you know, broke his leg versus Virginia Tech. Yeah, and I'll let Jim answer whatever else after this.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I think are
Those are the new ones.
our changes, and those were all injury related. So to this point, no one opting out. I honor the power of choice, though, right? And I just want to be educated choices, and that's fair, because this is something I created, right? And I'm not mandating anything other than anyone that wants to and will. I'm glad to be their coach.
Well, there are three players that won't be in the bowl: Jordan Redmond, Ira Armstead, and Jacob Rodriguez.
So thank you for that. So they chose to go in the portal early and then chose to go to new places early. And a lot of those conversations are if their role would have been more significant elsewhere. So I was really honest, right? And it was like, man, and that's tricky because the new staff at that point hadn't been named yet, not even a new coach, right? And so, but I was saying if I was going to be here, this is what your role could have been. And if you want more than that, then this would be a good opportunity. And when schools then came back with possibly a different role, I was supportive of that. And so that was kind of where those ones were.
This will be our last question, then we'll bring Brennan over for everybody.
And
Go ahead, David.
speaking of Brent, just in terms of educated choices, has he received his NFL evaluation?
You know, I haven't even asked him, which is, I just, yeah, I know what it was going to say. So, and we've talked openly about that, and so I didn't need like the confirmation because in my own mind I already know, and so I'll be shocked if it's anything different. But I don't know how to say it. The trust is at such a high level that and the number of player personnel people that I know and general managers, the letter will basically say, with no more, come or go. Like there isn't this whole evaluative thing, right? I've already got all that from the people I've talked to, so that formality is I don't know why it hasn't been important to me, like to have the piece of paper. You know, I think because I had so much information prior to it, maybe. And so it's a striking question, but yeah, I didn't.
What's it
Okay.
going to say? You say you know what the letter's going to say?
Yeah, the letter will say, recommend for him to come back to school and like continue to break every passing record and winning record in the galaxy, and then go on and win Super Bowls and be in the Pro Bowl and everything else you're going to do after one more year of college. That's what I think it will say. It might be win more games than anyone on the planet, or let's see, galaxy, universe. I don't know what scale. His impact, you can't measure it. And if he did go, he'll still have amazing success, right? There's no one that can